That's it.
Welcome to the Knox County Board of Commissioners, April 2nd, 2026 meeting. This morning we have Bethany from Knox County Transit. Bethany, I'll let you introduce yourself and you can have the floor.
All right, thank you, Bethany Felmar, Transit Director. I just have a brief update just to keep you updated on what we're doing at Transit. We had a pretty strong March. We had 6,014 trips in March, which is actually really incredible because we have had a few drivers that have been on extended leave of absence for just different medical reasons. So we have been working really hard to make sure that we're keeping everybody on time and doing as many trips as we can. We have seen an increase of denials because there's still the same demand, but we don't have as many drivers right now to meet that. So, we 6,000 trips is actually really, really strong for the amount of staff that we had. I've been out driving myself actually too to make some things happen.
That's
It's
the
actually
bus I
really
should have been
fun.
on.
Yes, it's really fun. But just trying to make sure that we keeping up with everything and figuring out what's going on with employees and staffing and if people are returning or if not, then opening up some positions. So we do have a part-time position posted right now, and we do need a part-time driver. I anticipate we'll have to post a full-time position as well. So we'll give you more updates on that. And it's always hard, we've had a couple of calls of people not being able to get to therapy or cancer treatment and that kind of stuff. We really have a lot of people who depend on us and we are it. We are their option. I talked to somebody about an out of county. She was asking for what we charge, just if there's no assistance. It's about $125 for a Columbus trip, and she said she couldn't afford it. But Station Break, it's about 2 to 3 months to book a trip with Station Break. So, yeah, so that's not an option. Um, Elite Transportation Group is the other private entity in town. They have about 5 vehicles. They do a lot of out of county as well. So that means as far as in county trips, there's not a lot available. And as far as I know, those are really the two other options that people have.
I think a lot of people don't understand at the end of the day, the avenue that you're playing in transportation, especially for public transportation. It all comes down to funding.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, funding dictates your world.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I feel like I've been a broken record with everyone. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of education to do, and a lot of people don't understand. They think that we're just 100% tax funded. They don't understand there's the element that we have to earn or get that local funding. And then when they're frustrated too, sometimes that doesn't even
So I'm going to throw you off
right?
base and maybe you can
No. Okay.
educate me a little bit. I was reading your pretty much how you're funded. So certain dollars are claimable, certain dollars aren't claimable. So therefore, if you give a free ride, you're better off than charging for the ride. And that confused me to no end. So can you maybe explain that to me?
I wish I could. Yeah. It is very confusing. Right. It is confusing because, let's go to like, if I'm private sector and I need money, I'm going to raise my rates per trip, and that's going to earn me more money.
Sure.
That's how we think, right? The way that our funding is structured is that anything that I collect in fares, which is out of the pockets of a person, is going to be deducted off of my federal grant. So I have this chunk of money federally. And the more that I collect from the pockets of the people, the less federal money I'm getting. It doesn't get me any further. It's 50% of my pie, and we're just gonna slice it differently, either out of the pockets of people here or from the federal grant. It doesn't get me any further at covering that other 50% of my funding, which is
That's
it
right.
is
I
very
started,
difficult.
I read it 3 times.
Yes.
It
yes.
doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I mean, it's an FTA rule. It's the way that we are all structured, and also in a rural, and that's very unique to rural transit. Urban transits are not funded that way. They are funded based on their population, basically. is how
So
they get
if
that.
you gather, and I'm asking this because I think you and I have had, we know, we've had conversation. Corporate America or company or private donation or contribution,
Mhm.
that doesn't hurt you,
Right. That is actually, I can use that to match the federal money. So like that's doubly important. And the fares that I'm collecting are less important or actually penalizing me almost. I kind of consider that a loss of reduction or a loss of funding. So yes, and that is the anticipation is that we would be um getting money from our contract revenue, which is organizations in the community or also contributions from other government entities or other private entities or anyone that has a vested interest in transportation. The goal, the way that the FTA has structured rural transit is that they want to see 50% of your money coming from local sources in some way to match that federal dollar.
Is there a
Because he
pen,
says to step up that are
Yes,
utilizing it.
yes.
is there a penalty if you don't get that matching funds?
I can't use the federal money. It's
So you have to
it's
have,
on,
Leave
it's
money
on.
on the table
Right,
because
we
we
do.
don't match
you
it.
have to have
Exactly.
match for the
Yeah.
money. So
Yes.
in order to spend 50,000, you have to have 50,000 in match from
Yes.
somewhere.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So the money the county provides you, you use as match. And
Yes.
the money the city gives you, you
Yes.
provide as match.
Yes. And all the contract revenue that we earn. Our big contractors, we've talked also about net contract, and that's nice because it is considered job and family services money, but that's coming to them through Medicaid, so it's not hurting them in any way. So that's another way to kind of sustain that funding source as well. So it's we're really close to what we need to be able to match it. It's really only about $100,000. So it would be nice. That's also why I'm kind of holding off on hiring because I just want to know where I'm going to stand to know how many people I can hire and where we're going to be for this next year. Um, I wish I could make more sense of it myself. It feels very limiting and very difficult to explain to people. Um, and then, yes, if we could just use, even if we could use the fares as local match, that's a good
Yeah.
80,000 a year. There it is, right there, so it's really frustrating because it's there, but it's not.
That money is at your disposal to spend as you need in theirs, have to go to a certain area.
The fares
No,
or
the federal fund.
the federal, well, there's a lot of rules and regulations on what I can. I am not allowed to even buy water for the drivers out of that money. It's called, allowable expenses or unallowable. So, I mean, most of anything that's going to direct operations of the transit, that's covered.
Okay.
But they do have a lot of restrictions because unfortunately in the past, there's been a lot of people that have done things with the money that they shouldn't. So
No
I
way.
do, yeah, right. I do understand, but it does make a lot of different rules. Again, like I can't even buy bottled water for the drivers, which I think is pretty essential, but
And with government changes in spending, maybe they'll revamp the rules too, because they have to.
Right.
If there's less federal monies coming into the state, less state monies coming into the transit system in the rural area,
Right.
then they've got to make a way that you have more freedom
Yes.
to actually run it and make it more free enterprise.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, it's also been a big learning process. It's taken time to learn in stages, kind of all of the funding because it is very complicated and it's not real common sense, I would say. It's a little bit difficult. So trying to figure out a strategy and how to get the support has been, it's been a challenge. So that's what I'm kind of embarking on a pretty big push. I'm still meeting with people. I've had several meetings already. So nothing to announce at this point, but we are just working on that local piece. The difficulty, I mentioned it seems to be right now that it's more like those medical appointments. We're still doing all of our workforce and we're getting that done, but the medical appointments, that's you don't know that far in advance, and everything changes. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of grants or funding out there for medical institutions to be funding us. That would be, that would be great if that was out there, but
And I
there's
forget, what is
nothing.
our percentage of medical? It's pretty high, isn't it?
20%, about
Okay, that's what I was
20% of the
thinking.
trips. Yeah.
So have you asked the city for a pay raise yet?
Well, we just got one last
Yeah,
year. Was it last year?
they up
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
contribution from 25 to 50,
Yeah.
25 to 50,000.
So we're really grateful for
And then
that.
we were able
Yeah.
to leverage that. So
Yeah.
that was good that they did.
Yeah.
And they've done that in this year's budget
Which
as
is equal to
well.
100,000 when you get your match, right?
Yes, exactly, of my operating funds. So, yeah, so we're really grateful for that support and partnership and just kind of working on that.
How's your fleet?
Fleet's good. Fleet's good. We just sold a couple of the old vehicles, so we didn't get a lot of money for them because that's
They were
the way
tired.
Gov deals. I mean, they run though. So, yeah, so we got a little bit from each of that. We sold off about 5 buses that were just pretty rough.
Tired.
Yeah, they were tired.
We're
So,
required to sell them through Gov Deals.
yes, well, at least auction them per the county, right? It just has to be.
Yeah, you have to have chat.
Yeah.
Bid,
You gotta make it
it's like a
public.
bill.
It's a government auction site, so it's probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah,
So,
you'll fetch
They
the
get
most,
their optimal value.
right,
you'll
right.
fetch the most money there too at the Gov.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that go on there
Yeah.
around the country.
Yes.
And part of the deal is you
What do
make
they
them, they pay the buyer premium. So
Yes.
it doesn't come out of our proceeds.
Yeah.
And then they have to
Quick,
come pick them up.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick
yeah.
deal, quick
Yeah.
sell.
And we have had people from out of state buy, some of these vehicles, which is really interesting. There's a whole market out there for these vehicles. So we're kind of learning that
Turn
too.
into tailgate.
Yeah, it's exactly campers or whatever, go have at it. So, yeah.
Thanks for answering that
So
for me.
yeah, I also have 2 new vehicles on order, so that's good. Also, there was we did get hit. One of our vehicles got hit in February, so we are finally getting some answers on insurance. They did total the vehicle, and there is a dollar amount that they're going to give us. I have to, just so you know, again, fun rules. I can't buy a used vehicle. I can't buy equivalent to that. I have to buy a new vehicle, which is going to be more expensive than what insurance is paying me for that vehicle. And we have to go through a couple extra steps with ODOT to make a contract and buy it off of contract and all of that. So the last conversation I had with ODOT, they did say that the state does contribute some. So I'll have the insurance money, I'll have some sort of state contribution, but I'm probably looking at needing more local funding to be able to replace that bus as well. So I'm hoping that it stays maybe in the $20,000 range, maybe less, because we really do need to replace that bus. It was only 18 months old and only had 45,000 miles on it. So it was a really nice bus. But they did total it. So
And it wasn't our driver's fault.
it was
So
not us.
Our driver was not injured.
No bodily injury.
No, everybody was safe and we were not at fault at all. So, it was fortunate on that end and nobody was hurt. So,
How are the routes working for you?
yeah, they've been a little bit more difficult this go around. So we switched to you have to get to a stop to get on instead of deviating the pickups. So where we ended up at the end of the year was that we were pretty much going everywhere to pick up and drop people off because they are flex routes. We can go off the route. It was primarily being used to go off of the route to pick people up and drop people off. That made it very difficult to stay on time. We didn't build enough time in a half-hour loop to do 7 deviations, and we still have to get through the traffic. We have to get across town. So we switched it to you have to get on. We can drop you off anywhere along the route, but you have to get on at the stop. It's been a lot more difficult for people. So we have quite a few riders. Really, 65% of our riders are either disabled or elderly. So they're most likely not going to be able to get to a stop to be able to walk. We do have some people that are toughing it out, but they are very winded by the time they get to a stop and they're having trouble. Or, they've got leg issues or heart issues or whatever. If you want to go down the list, we got a lot of riders that have those. So, it's not been as strong. We had about 1,500 riders in the last month on that, which is still a very good turnout, but I think we're gonna discuss and look at the stops and look at our numbers and see if there's even a better way that we can do this. I think we will still keep some routes. It's just figuring out where to run, where we're not running an empty bus, and how to make it work the best. The half-hour loops seem to be very limiting because you can only have about 3 to 4 stops at most and still get across town. Many other transits use hour loops. And then if we did an hour, we could have more stops and we might even be able to eliminate transferring. So we could have something like 1 big hour loop, and then we could run maybe 2 buses on it staggered at a half hour. So I think that might be something that we'll look at just to try to make it more convenient, get the stops closer into where people are to get some route ridership. But yeah, unfortunately, we've seen a lot of drop off just because we are not able to pick everybody up where they want to be, and they'd rather pay the $1 to get picked up at their door than get to the route.
Do you have a sign for those stops? Like
Yes, most of them. There are still a few businesses that I've asked and they have them, but they haven't put them up. So that's,
Is there areas for them to stay out of inclement weather on these stops, or is it pretty much in the wide open?
There are a few that are in the wide open. I don't want to put up bus shelters unless it's going to be a permanent.
Right.
We know that's going to be it. So we're kind of doing some of these stops that are kind of out in the open.
You're still filling out the flex route.
Yeah. Our progress loop has not been well written at this point. So we are doing a lot of combining trips and picking up and dropping off at the industrial park. We've gotten really efficient at that already with our regular services. So there's not a lot of people going down to the industrial park and connecting to downtown.
But are there neighborhood pickups as well?
We do. We pick up in Columbus Road.
And you have a sign there.
Yeah, we do have a sign there. So definitely more that we can do to try to get the word out. It's hard because it feels like you almost just have to mail a postcard to everybody in the neighborhood or something, because it's just really hard to figure out where people are checking and getting information
And
out.
that's all online though, where these stops and routes are and the times.
Yes.
And that kind of thing.
Yes.
And where do they
County
go to
Transit.
get that
Yes.
information?
KnoxCountyTransit.com. Yeah.
KnoxCountyTransit.com.
Yeah.
I saw one of your vehicles in my mom's neighborhood, but I wasn't sure where the stop was.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, it's in her neighborhood. Maybe she'd like to do that. So she drives, but I just didn't know. But I was trying to figure out where's the stop actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Others probably think that too. They see in their neighborhood.
Right. Or they can call and we can walk them through that. And we're also really happy to do a training on the routes and ride with people if that's something that's, kind of, it can be a fearful experience. There can be worries and anxieties, and we'll go wait with you at the stop. We'll go, just walk you through it. So we've done that with a few of our riders as well. So we're happy to do that. I think the only other thing I wanted to update, I did go to a conference last week with other transit directors, which is always really, really good, really encouraging. Fascinating to see that there's, many people in the same boat as us. They're all in the same place. I got some good information on our software. So we switched softwares last year, dispatch software, and there have been a few things that have been not as optimal as we wanted. And so I was able to network with a lot of other directors and get some good answers. And yeah, so again, we're all doing the same thing. And yeah, a lot of people are still very impressed at what our operations are compared to other
I have
counties.
heard that actually, so kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's great. I mean, we're doing a lot more than many other counties, but we would love to be able to still meet that the need, especially for that access to care. I did have I got data from KCH because they do a survey and they track some of the needs of people that pass through there. And so from in 2024, 41% said they had trouble getting transportation. And in 2025, that went down to 28%. So we took a huge chunk out of that issue. And I would like to be able to keep doing that. So that's where we're going to keep knocking on doors and getting that funding to just at least sustain so that we can keep people getting.
And are they a
to
good
that.
partner to us too?
Yeah, they've been very helpful in meeting and passing out information, and so it's been something that's been a work in progress. There's a lot of things before I stepped in that were difficult relationships, so it's been a process to build it, but there's been some good relationships there. Yeah.
I will say this, and I may regret saying it, but I've been to several meetings and it seems like transportation is the crust of the meeting and everybody's fighting for the same money
Mm,
to offer transportation.
yeah.
And you would think at some point in time that all these mobility, so to speak, committees and organizations would come together and figure out how to do general funding to support it instead of I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to get that grant, and maybe change the way that operational money flow goes.
Yeah.
But like I say, there's a lot of you fighting for the same piece of pie when it comes to monetary funds.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's not that many funds out there. There
That's what
aren't
I'm
that
saying.
many grants. And so that's where it's like you're all looking at the same place.
So everybody's trying to
Not
pick at that
helpful.
same slice of
Right.
pie when it comes to dollar.
Right,
I was
right.
talking to Joe Porter, trying to figure out what his role is versus, I thought he was actually running transportation service
No.
for medical and disability, but
Mhm.
he said more, he's in the communication piece of that.
Mhm.
So how does that work with you?
Yeah, so it's basically a coordination. And so all of the transportation entities should be working with him, giving him data, and reaching out to him with like, this is our challenge, this is our barrier. So, normally it looks like, oh, if we can't get a ride, they can call Joe and Joe can kind of try to call one of the other places. Now we give out numbers too, so we give out referrals directly, but so it's kind of a coordination and then also just tracking what are the difficulties, is there a recurring issue that keeps coming up, out of county cost or.
Joe was in my office yesterday for about 2 hours.
Mm.
And it seemed, believe it or not, Cheryl, and one of the big problems that he's having is that separation of income and age. Because Medicaid will pay up to 59 years old with certain income levels. But once you hit 60, Medicare will not pay for the same attributes that you do as Medicaid at 59.
Right.
So that's the bridge that everybody seems to be wanting to cross.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily income based, it's separated at 59 and income and then 60 in income, which seems like balls in the air to me,
Right.
but yeah.
Right. Yes, that is very difficult. There's just no funding source.
Yeah.
And like I said, people can't afford $125 to go down
Yeah,
to Columbus and
yeah.
back for every
It's a
cancer
rough
treatment.
situation.
It is. It really is.
I think that's climbed the ladder. And, if you look at transportation, and it's climbed the ladder, but not as high as, people trying to stay in their homes because of the price of things, but
Yeah.
still transportation, socialization, and staying in your homes. And sometimes that transportation and socialization kind of are grouped together.
Yeah. Yeah, we would love to.
Tough fight.
I think, we love to do group trips for seniors. I want to try to get some sort of grant funding and program together for that because a lot of the senior centers are not able to pay, for a whole group trip rate, but they love to go to the movies or everyone go to a restaurant or something like that. So, that's something that I want to pursue just to be able to offer that. And then they don't have to pay for it. The grant is paying for group trips.
I told Joe,
That's great.
everybody's still trying to make the internet their mainstay for these seniors. And the percentages are probably very poor as to the number of seniors who are actually IT savvy.
Yes.
I said, man, you ought to be putting notes on the back of utility bills and grocery slips and doctor bills because that's what they're looking at.
Oh, some of them are more savvy than I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I took someone Monday. She was just like, I'm totally computer illiterate, It's just like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Why learn it at this
Last
point?
name the same as mine.
So you could actually have the senior movie route where they're coming,
Yeah.
all the seniors are jumping on the transit to go to the movie every week on a certain day or whatever.
Yeah,
I can see that being a
absolutely.
fun and social and good
Yeah.
for transit.
Yeah. I mean, we have these ideas and just need to get it formulated and get a program and maybe find some
It
funding.
goes back to
for it.
funding and communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're great at communicating, so that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
You're doing a wonderful job. We certainly appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we love supporting the community and we are really working hard. We are doing our best. So we're hoping to get everywhere where they need to be.
Let me know how you and I move forward.
Yeah.
And we'll.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
That's very good. I believe Morpsey is here, the
That's fine.
Ohio Regency Planning Commission. Just sat on that committee. Hey, everyone else.
Good morning.
Last time. How are you?
We got a good day to come through. Beautiful.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Very nice to
Hey, nice to meet you.
Good to Joe Garrity.
Hi, Joe. Nice to meet you.
Because I don't know if you remember, I was the chamber president for New Albany for 17 years.
Oh.
I started on my kitchen table.
I thought, yes, so good.
Your dad hired me, your husband's father was the.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
good.
It's
a
Beautiful day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Still starts raining.
Email.
Yeah.
37
We are-
degrees or something.
Are you saying? I mean, that's spring in Ohio, that's for sure.
We apologize. I'll tell you some good news. The reason William was not with us today is he and his wife adopted a little baby boy last Saturday. So they're first time parents and loving it. So all right, hand out presentation here. And oh, you have there too. Wonderful. Okay, great. Well, because the moving slides are much nicer than these, but
This is high tech.
yeah. Okay.
Great. Well, again, I'm Joe Garrity. I serve as Morpsey's Chief Strategy Officer. Again, William couldn't join us today, but it's for a very, very good reason, being a dad. And then Eileen Luby is with
I
me today.
never services. I came out of the chamber world and I do the same thing, but for government, so nice.
Yeah. But no, thank you all so much for your leadership in Knox County, but in Central Ohio, as well. So we always have a little PowerPoint presentation. One big value in regards to being a member-driven organization is we don't just want all of you to come to Morpsey for our commission meetings, is we want to come to you, hear some of the work that we do, but then also get some feedback from you all as well. So we really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us today. Go to the next slide. So we are a region of 95 different community members in a 15 county region. I think when Eileen started as a member service officer,
We had 31.
31. So we are a growing region, and I think we'll have 96 members here next month.
We should say Centerburg is one of the newest.
Centerburg is one of the newest ones, so continuing to gain representation in Knox County, which is vital. Go to the next slide. And so this is critical too, is I think it's fair to say 15 years ago, Morpsey wasn't a truly regional organization, but now over half, just about half of our members are outside of Franklin County. So we are truly a rural, urban, and suburban organization. So you can see there all the different representation we have across our 15 county region. Go to the next slide. A lot of the work that we really focus on is related to growth, but we don't just want to grow bigger. We want to grow better and smarter. You'll see by 2050, we'll be a region of about 3.1 million people. Go to the next slide. And then see in Knox County, you're going to see some substantial growth, about just under 70,000 people based on our estimates here by 2050. Go to the next slide. All of our work is through our strategic framework. So we have 4 different pillars. We want to create an environment for prosperity. We want to drive investment to the region. So whether it's state capital budget dollars or federal discretionary grants, we want to ensure that those dollars are coming back to Central Ohio. We want to build value for our members. And then we want to pay it forward for the next generation, something you'll hear more about. Eileen, she leads an intern program. And when we plan for growth or plan for the future, it's important that we have public servants that are going to be there in 2050. Oh, thank you.
Probably easier for you to.
Yeah. So one item that Morpsey's really been leading on over the past 5 years is related to passenger rail. And there's 2 different routes in the state of Ohio that impact the region. One, the state of Ohio is leading with the Ohio Rail Development Commission, and that would connect Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, and Cincinnati. And then the other one, Morpsey's working on in partnership with the city of Fort Wayne, that would connect Chicago, Fort Wayne, Columbus, and Pittsburgh. Both of these routes have moved to the second phase of the Federal Rail Administration's Corridor Identification Program. So we're going to put together a service development plan that will then allow us to look at how fast these routes could go and where the stations would be. One thing that we feel confident about is this is something that was a priority in the first Trump administration and then now in the second Trump administration. And we were looking at a federal state partnership grant, which would look at safety issues, but then also right of way. There's a private sector company called Brightline that's also interested in potentially investing in the state of Ohio. So that's something that we're planning and looking into with that federal grant. A lot of our work is transportation related. So whether that's planning out the Metropolitan Transportation Plan up until 2050, or Corpo, or Central Ohio Rural Planning Organization. These are some of the vital transportation dollars that come to Morpsey, and then we help provide to our communities to plan for infrastructure in the years ahead.
You have been a great beneficiary of the Corporal program.
Yeah, so we actually just won a $4.8 million grant. We learned that right around the holidays to implement safety. And so some of those dollars we will be distributing out. So more news coming there. Our point on that is Mary Turner. And then as Eileen mentioned, you can see some of the projects that have been awarded in the Knox County region the past year or so.
I'm going to add one more comment. I was
Yeah.
on Mount Vernon State of the City last week, and State Route 13 will continue to get more improvements as he's trying to fix the truck routes so they're not coming through the city and so forth. So this has been great. You've won quite a few of these communities.
Yeah, and this is still a relatively unique tool when former Governor Kasich they created what's called an RTPO, so a Rural Transportation Planning Organization. And so this is something that is separate from the Metropolitan Planning Organization at MORPC, but MORPC helps staff. So it's a unique tool to help with development and infrastructure issues in rural communities.
So is the money flowing through Corpo to you, to us, or is it flowing from the federal government? How does that work?
Yeah, so in this case, those federal dollars for the Safe Streets for All grant, we won that discretionary grant. It comes to Corpo, which is housed at MORPC, and then we will help distribute those dollars across the those areas in blue.
But the road money, that was Ohio, that's up.
Yes, yes. And so a lot of the uh, Corpo is a creature of state government. So in a lot of cases, funds will come from the state and then go to Corpo, and then Corpo will distribute out. So it won't come to like back to MORPC. But in this case, for Safe Streets for All, it doesn't go to the state. It's from the feds to Corpo to communities.
So being a part of MORPC helps us receive these funds into our community.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is an example of driving investment to the region, but then also the value of being a MORPC member. Absolutely. And then we have unique economic development tools. Last month, we were out in Washington, D.C., met with Congressman Balderson and Congressman Jordan and both of our senators. And a unique tool that we have at MORPC is called competitive advantage projects. And these are projects that impact infrastructure, that impact economic development. And there's different funding opportunities, congressional directed spending, or competitive grants. And this was really helpful in regards to getting our congressional delegation to have an idea of what projects are in their district that could impact economic development. And when we met with the folks in the secretary's office in USDOT, they told us we're the only region that helps them with that. So it's a unique tool that's really, really helpful. And then we also have a comprehensive economic development strategy team at MORPC that's helping plan for economic development opportunities in the region.
The funds, that's a request that people put in for you and then you qualify and delegate. Is that how the funds work?
Oh, for that competitive advantage. Yeah. So different leaders. So maybe a county engineer or an economic development director.
Sam Filkins represents the.
Yes. Yeah. They would share what projects to the committee, and then we will update that list. I think there'll be an opportunity to update that list here in the next month or so, but it's a unique way where it's community driven projects, right? And then we ensure and advocate that those projects are on our congressional delegation's radar. And then we also want to be a good partner and have a planner pool. So we're happy to loan out a planner who can help with a technical assistance grant or help with a different application. We also have a consultant services program where we can help streamline the RFP process. So all of those consultants have been vetted, and we can just get them out to you to help standardize
I'll
those.
just share real quick. Little Village Alexandria, right in there in Lincoln County, they didn't have a comprehensive plan, and so we helped them put that together. And they won a $65,000 grant, and we scored all their RFPs. So that because the committee didn't know how to do that. How do you compare them? And we can also help people save money because we look at what you need and we can provide that data for free, so we can help reduce your costs.
And then our trail network, continuing to build that out across the region. You'll see, I think this will have, there we go. You can see the newer routes there in green. This is something that we're continuing to improve on across the region. The state capital budget, also our state legislators are starting to look at trails as not just a recreational opportunity, but how they impact the economic development. So we're always here to be of help in that regard. And I know there's always new and fantastic trails here in Knox County. We also want to be a good advocate on behalf of our communities at the state and federal levels of government. Mayor Sloan Spalding of New Albany leads what's called the Regional Policy Roundtable. where we look over bills and legislation so we can better advocate on your behalf. We'll be putting together a public policy agenda working group to update that agenda for 2027 and 2028 to ensure that we're staying up to date with the new General Assembly and Congress next year. And then I mentioned congressional directed spending and the value of competitive advantage projects. We also lead 2 different regional efforts. One's called the Columbus Region Coalition. It's a group of 16 different regional partners advocating with one voice. So rather than competing against one another, we will put different projects on a list and say, hey, this is the projects that really impact our community. So again, the value of being a part of MORPC is our voices being there on behalf of local governments that aren't the city of Columbus and Franklin County to make sure that these projects get invested and collaborating with our members of our congressional delegation. Another regional organization that we help lead is the Central Ohio Defense Group. There's 8,000 defense-related jobs in the region. We want to support our men and women who served in the armed forces at the 121st Air Refueling Wing, and then also at the Defense Supply Center of Columbus, and look at how we can create tools to make their lives a little bit easier, and then also to ensure that we're protecting these unique assets in our community.
Okay, and I get to talk about this. This is nice. We've added all these colleges that are giving discounts if your employees want to go back to school, earn degrees. The recent one we added is this is on there. I'm looking for Columbus State. Well, they do certificates in cybersecurity, AI. We all have to have a cyber plan as government, so those are easy to earn. You don't have to be an IT expert. 2 of them give discounts to your employees' children if they want to go to Capital or Otterbein. It's $20,000 off tuition, $80,000. We've got 2 families taking advantage of that. Franklin, there's 38 people going to Franklin because that's adult learning online. So we're having they're all different programs. Capital, like the law school and nursing program, doesn't count, but the other programs do. So these are all on our homepage on our member benefits, but they're for your employees. The next slide.
Employees and their children.
Just 2 are for children, Capital and Otterbein, that they're doing it. And Otterbein also has a benefit for spouses. So that's nice. So they're all a little bit different, each what the different benefit programs are, but they all have discounts for your employees. So every single one of them. So that's nice. The OSU ones are their MAPS classes. There's MAPS leadership classes. That's what those are. And then we have a robust intern program. We've placed 50 interns all across our counties. They're usually IT engineers, a lot of city and regional planning. We're in the process right now matching them up with anybody that needed an intern for the summer. And 20% of our interns were hired by our governments last year. We were really glad they stayed on. They rolled into jobs. I love that Perry County took one that was driving from Athens to New Lexington. She was in their IT department. They ended up creating a job for her. She's going to roll right into the gentleman that's going to retire down there. And she never thought IT and accounting would be as fun as it is. So you had no idea the variety of things that accounting has to do. So this is great. And then we reduced our commission meetings. So we only have 8 a year. It's 2 meetings, no meeting, 2 meetings, no meeting. So no meeting in January, April, July, and October. In April, we take our team on the road. And so you're invited to send reps to the Johnstown meeting that's coming up next week. So we're in all the different areas. We try to get our team out so that we make it a little easier to give the updates. So that's an example of when we were down at the Workforce Center in Fairfield. And so that's like 20 different governments represented right there. So it's nice because you pulled your neighbors together. We're going to do a village forum this summer. We have so many villages. We want to help them just stay modern, learn best practices as they're all a little bit unique. They all have not a lot of resources. And then we'll do a rural forum too, because to help our rurals develop best practice. That one's going to be in Delaware County. That'll be fun. And then, yeah. All right, now we're ready to answer any questions.
I know more about the railway, when that you see that being actually functional and how close it will run to Knox County.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the question, Commissioner. So again, right now we're in just entering the second phase of a 3-step process for planning. So I think if there were no delays, things could be operational by the mid 2030s. So there's 2 different kind of ways that we're looking at this. One is utilizing pre-existing freight rail. So if there's freight rail, Amtrak runs on freight rail. And then I mentioned earlier, this private sector company, Brightline, they use their own right of way. So we've been going to red states and growing regions that get big things done. And so we visited places like Florida and Texas, and they've been really planning for this and working in partnership with a private sector rail company. So those are the kind of the two different veins that we could go moving forward. And we want to make sure that we're not closing any doors at the moment. This next phase of that quarter ID process will help us answer where the stations will be and how fast. So I can't answer yet where the train stations will be, but you can see the,
So
the
you're
map.
following the map?
Yeah, on the map. Right now, the way that it's studying is it will be a little north, but we'll have a better understanding about where those stations will be in the next 2 years. So I can't definitively say where the route will be right now, but we'll have a better understanding of that here in the years ahead. But
Does it look like it goes through Knox County on the
so right now on this route, it goes north. Having said that, though, we're putting together that service development plan. So nothing has been decided yet.
I think the one I saw was Richland County.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was Richland.
yeah. So yeah, based on that,
Yeah.
you can see it's a little farther west of Knox County. But that's also looking at pre-existing freight rail.
Brightline's also, you said, use the median and roads
Mhm.
to try to minimize not going through farmland. So they've done cases where they just went right to the middle of the highway.
Yeah.
So none of the bike trails that were created for railways are gonna be an issue that we did that, right?
No. Thank you so much for the question.
And do you see some future finances that we'll be able to tap into grant monies for Knox County and?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
As you see those being?
That Safe Streets for All grant we mentioned earlier, that MORPC, that Corpo one for the $4.8 million, those funds will be available. On an annual basis, there's congressional directed spending that's available. That Columbus Region Coalition group that I mentioned earlier, we can be of use there. There's also at the state level, there was a deadline just back in March for the state capital budget. And I believe Knox County went after one grant. What's that application?
You have a submitted one currently for a maintenance building? Does that
Yeah.
sound right?
Yes.
I see you on the list for that.
Yeah. So we're happy to be, whether it's an advocate or on a radar. And then we also put together a electronic newsletter that we distribute monthly. It's called a Drive Investment newsletter. So whenever there's competitive grants available, we want to make sure that all of our communities are aware of what projects they're aware of.
Mount Vernon's won several. They won Blackjack, 157,000 for, and that was from the National Resource Council. And we actually distribute, it's Natural Resource Assistance Council, District 3 and 17. We do the administration of that. It's 2.9 million for Clean Ohio Conservation Fund. So you can also apply for that. Corporal will put money out every year. We'll get about $2 million. And you have representation on Corporal. I think it's your county engineer. So he'll be looking to submit things, could be safety improvements, things of that sort. Centerburg got one, Fredericktown got one.
But no, we always want to be a resource wherever Knox County can receive additional state or federal dollars or dollars that flow through MORPC.
I stream the meeting every month, but I think I want to come down and physically
That'd be
meet.
great.
We would love to have you.
I know
Yeah.
you're tuning in, so yeah,
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
credit for tuning in.
Listening to all the presentations. I know I can't vote by doing
Yeah.
stream. So there probably is a benefit to coming and voting as well.
You're there with all your peers. Probably the farthest person that drives in is Bell Fountain. Those commissioners drive in, Mr. Antrim and. Yeah,
And have you helped us write some of these grants to apply?
we can, certain ones we can.
Yeah. So again, that planner pool, we're happy to provide and loan out a planner in regards to these applications. That's what MORPC's here for.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Lincoln County had to borrow 2 planners because they lost the head of their planning organization for a while. And they had so many applications they were missing out on. So we just loaned them staff for as long as they needed, and then they went back to MORPC. They were only like 16 hours a week just reviewing proposals.
You see a serious cut in the federal funds and state funds in the future?
I know.
So, just like in general, I think the main concern from a local government perspective right now is the property tax issue, right? One thing that's unique, and I brought this up in our commission meeting, back in March, is we have a government affairs lobbyist at Kegler, Brown, Hill and Ritter, and we amended that contract to hire a strategic advisor to help us navigate a few policy issues at the State House. Well, this person, he also has a consulting firm where he is putting together the potential opposition campaign if the property tax ballot is on the ballot in November. So we'll have a better understanding of how that coalition will be going against that route. So I think our main concern for now is that when we're looking at our local governments, because we know that the property tax impacts school districts and all of our communities. From a state perspective, we feel more bullish, and same with the federal government. So we're not, as of now, concerned about other funding streams, but the property tax is something we're definitely concerned about.
As are we.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, if residents understand the implications
Yeah.
of that.
And so we convened that regional policy roundtable group, and we hosted Representative Brian Lorenz, who helps represent Delaware County. And the update he provided us in that meeting was Speaker Huffman feels more confident that they won't have the signatures to join the
What
ballot.
I've been hearing.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. And I'll say anecdotally, again, we're going out to all of our community members, is we'll see folks out and about gathering signatures for it. So we hope it doesn't get
When
on.
is their deadline to submit?
July 1st. So July 1st is the deadline to submit. So we'll know right around the July 4th holiday if it's going to be on the ballot. But I wasn't aware about the opposition campaign should it be on the ballot until about a month ago. But I'm glad to hear that there's a coalition planning for it if it does get on the ballot.
And the amount of signatures they have to receive is.
Oh.
Over 400,000.
That's what I think it's.
Well, they need 400,000 over that legitimate, so they'll probably need 600,000 signatures by the time they verify it.
Right.
So.
Well, they won't get any firemen or police signing it. They're not gonna.
Their job and family service people,
Right.
Busy.
library.
It's just, I don't think people understand the impact. So we just finished our State of the Region, but this is, we're gonna have a transportation forum and a safety forum combined. We're gonna have the governor candidates, forum too. So we're gonna have that down in, at the Hill.
Like a fair, enough kind of dance.
Oh, like that's just for nonprofits?
Yeah.
So I mean, Morpsey doesn't do a fair. Every now and then we'll do like a resource fair that's at Morpsey. We did one
We're
for
doing a housing
consultants. Yeah, we're doing a housing one, but specifically for nonprofits, we haven't done recently. Is there an event coming up, or can it be helpful?
Yeah, they need money.
Yeah. I know. So there's in Franklin County, there's a human services chamber that's really focused on funding for nonprofits, because I know those ARPA dollars have run out, and it's really impacting the
Mm-hmm.
nonprofits all across the state.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think Eileen just mentioned our statewide association is hosting a candidates forum on July 31st. And so this is something we've gotten the gubernatorial candidates the past 4 cycles. This will also be a tight Senate race with John Husted and Sherrod Brown running against each other. So we'll be inviting them as well. It's a unique opportunity to hear from these leaders and asking them questions on how they view their partnership with local government.
Right.
Yeah.
That's, what was the date on that?
July 31st.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we thank you so much for taking the
We're having a
time.
nice
Yes.
date. They're gonna get.
Yes, yeah, likewise, Commissioner. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Rib out.
Oh, no.
Right below the shoulder.
Oh,
Nice to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Mayor Star is.
Thank you
on
for
our
joining the
executive-
meetings
Thank
virtually.
you.
Yeah, and the questions.
The Mayor Star is on our executive board, so
Yes, oh my gosh, that works. Thank you so much.
Shoulder blow.
Thank you both. Are you gonna think about that, or do you think?
I'm gonna try to grind out. You know, when you're getting old, when you get like this and something goes out, right? Jason, I'll flip it over to you.
All right, we got just a few items today. We have, need to approve an advertisement in Mount Vernon News for public notice. For notice of finding no significant impact and notice of intent to request release of funds. This is related to the Danville Critical Infrastructure Water Improvement Project. The estimated cost is $470,000. This will be with CDBG funding.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Okay, and then we have approved an amendment. Fiscal accountability report, Knox County Juvenile Court Grant Agreement. And this is just changing the amounts, dollar amounts on their grant.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
And I believe, Barry, there's just one spot you'll need to sign on there, and that's it on that grant. And then we have approved the bid award of the Knox County Engineers 2026 roadside mowing program to Quick Mow in the amount of $131,658.03. The engineer's estimate was $160,000. And I just want to note that Running G Farms LLC was the low bidder on that project, but after reviewing the amounts and based on past performance, the county engineer is recommending not to go with them and award to the next lowest bidder, which was Quick Mow. And this has been run through the prosecutor's office and it's okay and ready to roll.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And a support letter for the city of Mount Vernon Brownfield grant application to conduct assessments on property located on 311 South Mechanic Street, Mount Vernon. This is, they sent a few of these up, so these are the city and its environmental consultants have demonstrated an understanding of potential environmental challenge of these properties. And so they're trying to get some brownfield funding to take care of these.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
So that would be both of your signatures, and then there's three of them. There's the second one. There's also brownfield grant application support, and this is for 321 South Main, 401 South Main.
All right, motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
And then the last one is the brownfield grant application for the city of Mount Vernon for letter of support, and this is for 6 East Chestnut Street.
And these brownfield, just real quick, that's not saying what those will be used for. This is just to assess, right?
It is. Yeah, a lot of times the brownfield money, I think, can be used for assessment and demo.
Demolition, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then we have approved a temporary easement for Columbia Gas Transmission. This is for Coshocton Avenue, Howard. This is our parcel. This is down near our well field. And if you did one of these a couple of weeks ago, I believe, this is another small parcel that we own next to that parcel that they're going to need to get access to for their new transmission line. So we had to do a separate easement for that one.
Motion to approve.
Second, those in favor, say aye. All right.
There's 2 signatures for Barry on that one. And that is it. Then we have a transfer and then the bill list and a couple sets of minutes. We approve and sign.
Commissioner, you have anything you want to add?
Just that everyone have a happy resurrection weekend. Easter.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We stand adjourned.